it or not. There is a moment meant for us, and now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.
Welcome to episode 4 of the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. I'm your host, Jason Poos. Wonderful action in the first 3 episodes to this point. We have tons more for you, so glad you're joining us. Congratulations to the competitors that have moved up so far. But let's get into our action here. It is semifinal action in episode 4 in the men's under 50 male black belt division. Let's give you our competitors. They are Yuri Moleman, Armand Morin, Victor Chung, Wright Outland, Krishna Sitaram, Todd Brown, Angelito Ong, Dong Wong, Pak Seung Yang, and Michael John Bugarin. Those are your men's, your 10 under 50 male black belt competitors in the semifinals here. Also, semifinal action coming up in the female under 50 black belt division. Let's give you the competitors for this competition. It is Jolene Nolan, Twa Nguyen, Krista Danowitz, Maria Sokolova, Jin Li, Sheena Kim, Susan Bird, Jennifer Mitchell, Julie Erickson, Yenju Chow, Shannon Hodock, Sean Schuler, and Shannon Call. Those are your 13 semifinalists here in the female under 50 black belt competition. Also in the semifinals in the under 50 male red belt competition, it is John Yi and Robert Perkins. In the semifinals in the under 50 female red belt division is Charity Lawson. And last but not least, in the under 50 male yellow belt division, Tony Liu. So good luck to all of you competitors that are competing in your semifinals, I should say. We're going to come back on the other side with some results from the semis. This is the USA Summer of Poomsae. I'm your host, Jason Poos. Competition coming up right now.
Welcome everyone to the Summer of Poomsae event. We are now entering the under 50 male black belt division, and our first competitor is Yuri Moleman. He is from Westside Taekwondo in New York City.
How are you today, Miyako?
Master Southwick, I am doing great. My name is Miyako Yerick. I am a multiple national team member for Poomsae. I've also been on the collegiate team, and I'm on the board for the National Collegiate Taekwondo Association. So I'm excited to be here with you today and talk through some Poomsae with you. And we have the amazing Master Ronald Southwick, who is your AAC rep for Poomsae. So if you have any problems with Poomsae, come to Master Southwick.
Oh, thanks a lot. Well, we just saw Yuri there do Pyongwon, one of the most feared forms, I think, out there right now. And looks like a 6.04 for that. So Hillary Monaco is Yuri's coach.
And we saw Hillary compete earlier in the semifinal round for women's senior 2. So it's always nice to see athletes and coaches competing.
Absolutely. I love this new format too, because we get to see a lot of living rooms, a lot of backyards, a lot of empty dojongs. That's an adaptation on the Poomsae person's part.
Absolutely. And I know Westside Taekwondo. I've lived in New York myself, and this is in the basement. They have
this is in the basement, yeah.
But it's pretty low. Yeah, so it's pretty skinny, but they have an upper floor and then this lower floor.
So I don't recognize Yuri myself. I haven't seen him out there, but it's really nice to see him on the mat today. And I like these new people that pop in and start to get into the process and start to learn all the important parts of Poomsae. It's a tough business. as you know, Miyako.
Right, there's so many accuracy, and then once you get the accuracy stuff, then you can really start working on your performance and coming up with a style that's really your own. So hopefully we can talk through some of that style points and performance today. So if you're listening, keep tuning in, and we'll let you know how we're thinking. This was Shipjin. So it looks like the two forms for the semifinal round are going to be Pyongwon and Shipjin. Again, this is the under 50 male black belt division semifinals, and we have 10 competitors here. 8 will move on to the finals, so we're only going to be dropping 2 athletes here.
So a 5.57, and Yuri gets a 5.81 in the end there. So lots of accuracy issues in that particular form, but that's something that we all, when we start out, have to fight with.
첫 경례.
So now we have Armand Morin
준비.
from Wake Forest and the world champion taekwondo.
시작.
Jin Li is his coach. And we'll watch his rendition of Pyongwon.
He immediately looks a little bit more comfortable than our first competitor, relaxed in the upper body.
Yeah, definitely a lot more confident. With experience and you gain that confidence, it really shows. When we are talking about presentation, we are kind of looking at 3 major elements there: strength and speed, rhythm and coordination, and expression of energy or ki.
프로.
They're kind of tough things to display in a video
Shut-
sometimes. I don't know how you feel about that, Miyako. I think that it's tough to present on video.
Right, so Armand here coming in with a 6.13 on his Pyongwon. We were mentioning
Me.
on the last few divisions that it can be hard to show power on video.
Yeah.
시작.
And sometimes you have to up it almost to where you're a little bit uncomfortable, just so that it really comes through. And it did seem that the judges were rewarding that in past divisions. So we'll see if that continues in this round as well.
This is Shipjin, our longest form, so we really get a lot of time on the mat when we do this. And this is one you never want to rush through because you want them to see you. On this first line, you get a really good rendition of how your height management is being controlled. And that really matters because once you go down in this form, you don't come up very much at all. Only after this next move and then on the kicking. But everything else, you're kind of down in the lower position.
Agreed. It really helps to be really grounded. Your feet in contact with the floor the whole time as you move through. You don't want to pick up your feet too much. You want to just glide across, except for this bar here. Our attacks on the front bars.
Yeah. And it comes right at the judges. And our man looks a lot more confident. So
프로.
I think that
good
he
showing
will
for him
have
today.
A good
Shut-
score here. Probably in the
Shut-
low 6s,
Come
I
in.
would say, for Shipjin.
Yeah, 6.20.
So we'll see there his accuracy is a 2.5. If he can fix just a few things, get that accuracy up to about a 3, it'll really help his overall performance score get up there into the mid 6s. So definitely coming along nicely here. Again, we have 10 athletes, top 8 will go into the finals. And our top 2 there, bringing in our scores.
And here's Victor Chung from Team Elite. Arnold Chung is his coach. Victor's been around for a while, competed against him in a couple of team events. Very skilled practitioner. Nice upchagi. And nice control on that yapchagi as well. So you can see the difference from the last competitors. Victor has a lot more experience.
It's also really nice grounded stances here. You can see how much his knees are bending and he's staying engaged with the floor as he's just sliding across on this bar. It just looks very grounded and powerful. As you get up in the age divisions, I feel like you really want to show that intention with your move and showing your groundedness rather than how fast and how high can you kick.
Yeah, excellent point. So Victor's first round 7.2, so really nice.
We're seeing
Really nice
presentation
score.
there coming up to 4.0, so they are definitely appreciating that groundedness and strength that he's showing now. Let me see, he has on a USA Poomsae team belt, so Poomsae team member from one of the past recent years.
Yeah. The one thing that I found difficult with this video kind of format is after a round and you don't get to see your score. I like that in a live competition because that lets me know, are the judges appreciating what I'm doing or are they looking for something different? I can adjust my Poomsae after that. Here, you just got to give them what you think. And it's a whole new format. New challenge.
Right, it's really different too because you can't see anybody else's scores. You have no idea how the round is going, and you're submitting videos for the prelims, the semis, and the finals without any feedback from judges. So you really just have to do the best that you can on that day. And we were talking, there was an interview of AJ Munoz, multiple time world champion, and said she spent all day, probably 8 hours recording forms because you just want to do one more and get one more good one. But there are some diminishing returns. If you keep doing it, you might get more tired. But it looks like Victor here is just doing a really great job. He's keeping his power up. He's using his core. I'm seeing hip movement, groundedness. I think this will be another score, probably up in the 7s as well.
Yeah, this is a great form for him too. So he looks very good, very comfortable.
Lots of upper body motion in Shipjin. Here we go, 7.13. So just a little bit, few hundredths of a point lower than his first form, but that definitely solidifies him in first place for now. And he's already beaten 2 people, so he will be moving on to the finals.
That's a good feeling too. And now Wright Outland from Tiger Kim's. Han-Dong Kim is his coach.
And he is from North Carolina. I was mentioning watching some of the earlier videos, you can see in the dojang spaces where the space is demarcated for our social distancing during quarantine. So there's lots of space, you can tell.
So we have a little extra movement here from Wright. And again, this is such a hard form to hold it all together. It's like you hit it or you don't. But a great attempt. And I really do like seeing. Oh, go ahead, Miyako.
Well, I think his basics are there. He just has to tighten up a little bit on the arms, make sure that they're staying attached to the body. Really work on cleaning up the footwork. Yeah. So we're seeing here an accuracy of 2.0. Probably lots of little deductions on all of the little pre-steps on the steps on the feet.
And a 5.53 there. I do like seeing all the dojangs though. It's kind of fun to see where everyone is been training.
I do as well. I like the ones that are outside, backyards. I saw somebody next to a pool yesterday and I was jealous.
My favorite are the living rooms and dining rooms, which have been taken over by mats sometimes or just carpet. Yeah, so much better form for him on this one as he can move.
Say he looks a lot more comfortable, confident, sliding across the ground, engagement.
And it's amazing how far we've come in Poomsae. Miyako, you remember some of the older days too. All the things that have changed and how we've improved as a country and really got ourselves up there, fighting from the bottom.
It really starts with events like this of letting everybody compete, having it be really accessible so that we build a deep pipeline of athletes in our country. And I'm seeing here, Ron, that Wright really likes Star Wars, so maybe you guys can be friends and talk about.
Well, I can't wait to meet him in person. That'll be something I'm going to bring up to him. So again, much better form on that one for him. It will show a little bit better. 5.86, definitely coming up a little bit. And a 5.70. And Krishna Sitaram coming out of high kicks. Master Brian So is his instructor.
And that's located in Chantilly, Virginia. I'm outside the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and I know I've seen him in some local Virginia, Maryland state competition. So good to see some local people for me, at least. Yeah, really nice control on those kicks for this division.
Yeah, he's got a really good look. Nice shape of his stance. And look at that. He's just got that space perfectly laid out. He was right on that wall. Excellent job. That's a really solid Pyongwon, I think.
I think that'll definitely put him up there in the top near Victor. One thing that I really liked was on his arm motions when he hit those mountain blocks, he really paused and you could see a clear stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you don't have good clicks in your arms or your legs, it all just kind of flows together. But yeah, here we go. That probably puts him in the top for this form.
Nice score, 7-4. Yeah, he looks really good.
Smart here, starting Shipjin up. So when you compete in these forms, knowing where to stand on the mat is really important. I'm going to see how he uses the space there. You can see he has a column in the middle, and I think he'll probably end up going around it. But you want to start Shipjin up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look at that. Just the right amount of space for him. Nice
you can tell he's
backstance
probably
here,
done
too.
a lot of runs.
Oh, yeah. Stances are such a fundamental piece of this, and really the one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. Without the stance position, you can't do any of the other techniques. And it's really nice to see competitors that are really focusing on that.
Having really
Especially
nice
in this
grounded stances. Yeah, especially on these forms where you have all these 5 counts or 8 counts, where just your hands are moving, your feet have to be so solid into the ground. If you start wiggling them at all, it throws off the look of the whole move. So here, notice his feet are locked, they're not moving, and you really can focus on that upper body engagement.
And he definitely used this space perfectly. That's going to give him a really good score, I think. He's going to do well here. Yep, a 7.44. So that's definitely going to put him up there at the top.
Yeah, and he's competed at the Canada Open as well as Nationals, so he has some international experience here, definitely coming through. He's very confident in his space and securing that first place spot now in the under 50 semifinal round here.
Yeah. Now Todd Brown, Oklahoma Taekwondo, and Todd Brown is his coach. So this must be Todd's own studio here. So nice front kick, and really the side kick has some hope there too. Maybe a little more work on his stances here with his feet. That's something the referees can see really, really well. And you have to get that delineation in the stance. It's really important, as Miyako said, to lock those things down so that we can see them. But the santelmaki, or the mountain block, was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think if we attach the arms to the body a little bit more in those kicks, work on maybe loosening up. We were talking yesterday, the back is so important in Taekwondo and Poomsae. Being able to have a loose back to have really relaxed volume of motion. We were talking earlier about the expression of energy. That comes out in your volume of motion. And here, a 6.76. So even with some of those little accuracy things, really high presentation. And again, this is the semifinal round, 10 athletes, and we're taking the top 8 into finals. So they just need to edge out 2 other athletes in order to make it into this final round here today.
So a little up and down motion here. And that will also, the referees, that's something that they can see. And when that shakes the picture like that, they referees like to press the little button. So you really want to kind of minimize that as much as you can in this form, as we were talking earlier about kind of staying low in that position the whole time as you're gliding across the floor. It takes a lot of strength and a lot of practice.
And I think looking at our top 2 competitors right now, which are Victor and then Krishna, they were both so grounded, you could tell their knees were bent. And that was one thing that I think was consistent, even though body types are very different. Lots of people can
Oh,
do
yeah.
these forms well, but being grounded low to the ground, engaging your core, I think really presents the form well.
Yeah, there is a lot of athleticism involved in this sport, and you can definitely capitalize on it if you've got it.
Really nice front kicks on that bar. Nice height, good forward motion on the attack, and we're just finishing up here on the last bar. Another thing, some of these forms finish choreo as well, where you're going to the back. And at nationals, you'll have 5 judges, 2 in the back, 3 in the front. But here, all of our judges are watching the video. They're all in the front. So if you can only see the back, you really have to turn your shoulders, use both hands, focus on that elbow thrust
Absolutely.
instead of the punch, which we can't see. So thinking about what we can see on video, I think is really important as we do this new video submission format.
643. And I think we have a little interview coming up here next, Miyako.
Oh, great. Here we go with Angelito Ong.
My name is Angelito Ong, and I'm from Ocala, Florida. And then I'm competing with under 50 for Poomsae.
What made you decide to move to the United States, and what it was like transitioning from competing in the Philippines to the United States?
When that's 1996 or 1997 when the Philippine team joined to the US Open, and then we're like only 4 of us, 4 person only with God. And then when I see America, USA, I fell in love. I said, everything's people are very nice. When I go to other dojang, everybody's very respectful. It's kinda you fell in love right away. And then when I said, okay, maybe I will plan to go to America 10 years from now, 2007 or 2006. So, keeping competing, training, teaching, coaching, develop myself, develop my credential. I know when I go into America, it's not easy because, I'm applying as an athlete, to have a visa or a green card or citizenship being athlete is very tough. So I developed myself, I developed my credential to go to, before I plan to go to America. But when I go over here, I really fell in love in America. So I said, I want to start my school over here. But of course, I start all over again. I have a couple of struggle. I have a couple of disappointment. But in the end of the day, you will think about that. Whatever you go, you're gonna have that. Whatever you go in other country, even in your life, you're gonna have a disappointment, and you're gonna have a good time, and you're gonna have a bad time. What you're gonna do is you have to be strong, be perseverant, don't give up, and then if you are, and also you have a very supporting wife and kids, so that's the one secret that I made in America.
What a great story. Now we'll see Master Ong here perform Pyongwon.
He's a very seasoned competitor. He's done not only USAT, but AAU. He's traveled to Canada, the Puerto Rico Open. So he immediately looks comfortable, confident. This is not a new experience to him competing at this level. So I'm expecting, even just from the first few moves, a pretty good score here. Good flexibility on the kicks, good control, really solid stances so far.
Absolutely. Just a little wobble there at the end, but all in all, very solid performance. And he'll be rewarded for that. 7-1-3. And I believe Shipton is going to be an excellent form for him. You're going to see some really nice height control here. And you watch his head just kind of glide across the floor there.
Good core engagement. it's always hard on some of these forms to keep your chest fully upright, making sure that you don't lean forward in the stances. And most of his stances so far have been very stacked. His weight is right on top of that leg where he needs it to be. And we're not seeing that engagement forward because of a tight back or some other areas. Good core engagement there, twist. You can see here his back, super straight, no C curve, which is very common.
It's really great that there's an avenue for senior aged athletes out there, myself being one. And it's just been such a joy to really see people still improve and still get really, really good and stay good at this age. It's kind of one of the great benefits of Taekwondo.
And also that you can start at a later age. You don't have to have been doing this for 20 years. You can start at age 40 and still be competitive and represent your country is one of the things I love about this sport.
7-1-3. So it will stay there at a 7-1-3, both of those scores. So that's
very
nice for him.
Very consistent.
Yeah, that's a good sign too.
Good, so very close there to Victor
3.
Chung.
Yeah. And now Dong Wong from Grandmaster Jin, one of our national team coaches, is his instructor. And he has his own little dojang set up here. Again, little extra motions, difficult to work on in the beginning, but always a work in progress, this form. Very, very difficult. Good job.
Yeah, I think that was a really solid performance. I think that he'll definitely be top 8 with that for this round. So far, we do have 2 more competitors after him, but yeah, 6.17 should be right there on the cutoff. I think Shipjin might be a little bit more solid with him, for a little bit fewer side kicks, which is where he seemed to struggle a little bit. I mean, don't we all struggle?
Absolutely. But it's good to have kind of sometimes a really tough form there. And something else. It looked like he took an extra step there.
Yeah, it looks like he started with a step rather than just stepping into the back stance. So that might be a major.
Yeah, that will definitely be a major from that position. So majors and minors, a minor infraction will just be maybe a little stance difference or whatever. But a major is if you add a move, do the wrong move, things like that.
Showing good flexibility here, though, in his bottom half. Good bend in the knees, showing that height difference. We
looks
might have
like we
lost front kick there.
We lost a front kick there. So that will... Now, sometimes if you keep going, sometimes the referees don't catch it, but the referees we have right here are going to be pretty sharp, and they're going to see those 2 moves. That will definitely affect the accuracy score here for sure.
So I think we'll see a low accuracy score, which will lower the overall score. Yeah. 2.0 there, total 5.5. So that's going to bring his overall score down, and then he has to beat 2 people. So let's look at these rankings and see where he's falling and if he'll be able to make it into the finals here.
Well, it keeps him at number 6.
Here he goes. So even with the last 2, he should make it.
Yeah. And now Master Pak Seung Yang, who is one of our national team competitors and an extremely talented, experienced practitioner. And a really wonderful guy too. There's an excellent sidekick for this. He's very confident.
Great control, great flexibility, really showing his experience here.
and he's really adapted to this COVID situation as well. He's giving a lot of online seminars now, and really goes out there and helps everyone he can in this sport. So he's just been one of the best people that we've had.
Wow.
And look at that, a 7.90. That is a great score and well deserved.
I believe he's our current national team member in this division, so he is the one to beat. People will be going after his score.
And he's been doing a lot of these online tournaments that have showed up all over the world now. And he's been very, very successful at that too. A lot of gold medals.
Mm-hmm. And it helps, I think, doing practice at different online events so that you're not new to this video submission, and he has been doing them and winning them. So he is experienced in this format. He's experienced at nationals. He's experienced internationally. So Pak, really great competitor from the U.S. He's from Korea. And I think one of my favorite stories about Pak is his hair, which he dyes. And I was like, you keep getting, gold medals. He's like, yeah, to match my hair. I was like, well, what happens if you get old? He's like, no, I have to keep it. He can't go silver because then he gets silver medals.
That's right. Yeah, all the people that we meet in this sport are just really wonderful, and we've had such a great times over the years. And Poomsae people are a different breed. As a world community, they're pretty tight. And nice technique. Very stable positions.
I think one of the nicest things that I like about his form is that he lets it breathe. He's not in a rush at all. He knows where to pause, really show that power and strength before moving on, which gives it an interesting rhythm. So it's not monotonous. It's not, the same tempo. He has breaks and pauses, like you're adding a comma or an exclamation point if you're writing a sentence.
What a great point. And an 8.0. So again, Poke is definitely the person to beat here. 7.95 altogether. That is an amazing score.
We have just one more competitor here in this round before we have our top 8 who will go into the finals.
And Michael John Bugarin, and he's from Ong's Taekwondo. So we saw his instructor earlier. And let's see if the student can outpace the teacher, which is always a great thing. Again, starting out a really strong form here. Nice positions. Little wobble. Good extension.
A little bit of stance inconsistency and length. It's always hard to land those back stances after the side kicks. But making it equal on both sides will make it so that you finish at your mark. I know that I always cheat to try and get back to my mark on this form. It's hard to get back there, especially because of those stances on each side. If you fall out a little bit, it makes it really hard.
Yeah, you'll end up on the right a little bit every time.
Exactly.
Yep. And a 7.36, that's still really good.
Definitely securing him a spot in the finals as long as his second form doesn't fall out too much. So I think he'll be good here, solidly in top 8 so far. Nice straight back, stacked weight. Quick double punches. Again, on these forms with the slow motions, there's so much attention to the feet because there's not that much going on. So if you have a heel pivot, or if your feet are slightly open instead of perfectly parallel, it will be noticeable. So especially on these moves where it's really long count on the hands, focus on your feet and make sure that they're very accurate because the judges have time to look at it.
I think this video format that we're going to be using for a while here, as we're able to do this, especially in this wonderful Summer of Poomsae event, is going to make all of us much better competitors because we're going to be so much more aware of what we look like and what we're doing, that when we get back on the mat in these live performances, it's going to really raise the bar.
And since we're talking about the Summer of Poomsae event, Master Southwick, why don't we talk a little bit about the points, because that is something new with this event. It's a US 8.0 tournament and it's cutoff. So something that's really good to know, I think, is that if you compete in this tournament at all, you are receiving points. So everybody who signed up and submitted a video will be getting
That's right.
points.
And a 713. And points, basically we're trying to get points to get us on the US team eventually here. So these are ranking points that allow us to rank ourselves. Okay, so look here at our final score there. Looks like, and you said the top 8 move on.
Top 8 move on, yep. And here we go into our next division. So we're moving from the males into the females under 50. Our first competitor here is Jocelyn Nolan, and she is from Shiba Taekwondo, and her coach is Sheriff Shiba. Starting out with choreo. Yeah.
Another tough one, but this is one of the ones that we kind of get right away, and we spend a lot of time on as black belts. It's our first black belt form.
That's a good point. You know, as you become a black belt, you are immediately exposed to so many new forms if you're going to compete as a black belt, but you probably have this one the longest because you learn it in order to test for black belt.
But always a challenging form. I think I learn something new about this every time I begin a training cycle when I'm in the choreo zone. So it's a complex form, and there's a lot of really cool stuff with it. So Jolene looks pretty good there, moving up. And a 5.93. So a lot of accuracy minuses there as she comes in that position, but stuff that she'll go. Let's see what our second form is here.
We have 13 competitors in this division, the semifinal round. Again, top 8 will move on out of 13.
And Kumgan, another competitor favorite. This right here is one of the hardest moves, the Haktari Sogi, and then going into a Kumgan Arimaki. So you have to hold that for about 8 seconds, and you want to try to keep your wobble down to nothing. But this can be a really strong form. No kicking at all.
But we talked earlier about staying really grounded and low, not having your head come up at all. This form, except for on the sides, you are low the entire time, forward and back and side to side. Your head should be stable, horizontal, just slide across. So that's really hard for a lot of athletes. And we do a lot of balance work. I know that I've done some ankle PT. Really helps me with Kumgang because you're using your ankle, the stomps, the spins, having good ankles, knees, back, everything you have to rehab. It's not just about, the kicks.
So true. And you really have to approach this with a pretty aggressive mindset and be comfortable with it. You can't be worried about losing your balance at all. You have to just take what you get. And again, that's not a bad form. She had really good height control. She could get a little lower in her stances. I think that'll help her presentation a lot more. But good height control coming around the edge, and a 5.63. So her final score, 5.78.
And our next competitor is going to be Twa Nguyen, all-time favorite of mine. I love watching her compete. I saw her teammate Kathy Jo go a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
These women are
superstar.
so impressive.
And a world champion. And you're going to notice that with that Yupchagi well over her head.
So comfortable. Twa could compete in the 18 to 30 division, and I think
easily.
Do really well.
Easily. Twa is also a pediatric dentist.
I believe also that this might be her last year in this age division. She's about to age up.
Yep. She's about to go into the Master 2, we call it, or under 60. So. And
is that when you get a gold top, Master Southwick?
Yes, it is.
I hear lots of people get excited about the new gold uniforms once you get to that new division.
I don't know about that. Some people like them. Myself, I don't know. I kind of like the white ones. I'm getting closer to that next up, the under 65. So That was a great performance. Twa is amazing, amazing person. It's been great to see her travel. I was there and watched her win that gold medal the first time she did it, 7.77, and it was just a great experience. Very humble competitor and so talented, so talented.
I think she's really well-rounded too. She has power and control. She's not maybe the softest athlete. You can tell that she doesn't, have soft, but it's so accurate. She really doesn't need that in her style. We mentioned earlier, you can have different styles once you've mastered the basics and the accuracy, which she has. And she is just so solid every time I've seen her compete. Really aggressive turn there, but so low. You can tell her height on her thigh there is supposed to be parallel to the ground, and her bottom leg is very bent. Some athletes will cheat and bring that knee up to have the horizontal line without bending the bottom leg, but she is not cheating here.
No.
Nice low turns, power. And we mentioned it's sometimes hard to see that power come through on video, and maybe it's the hair shaking or the solid finish, but I am seeing power.
Yes, I can feel it from here. Yeah, what
nice,
an ending. That
strong
was
finish.
just so nice at the end. I mean, when I watched that, I'm learning, I'm trying to pick it up.
Absolutely.
And she's going to score really well on this. So a 7-7. That's really nice.
Twa also does pairs with Pak, who we just saw in the last division, and they won
7-7-4
for pairs. So they would have been doing that. But because Twa is who she is, she won individual pairs and team at the most recent team trials and had to give up one of those spots, which was pairs.
And Krista Danowitz, she's Chicago area. Brian Chung is her teacher. And she's been around for a while and been bouncing up in the top 5. Definitely in the top 10 for a while now. She's been working hard.
Very solid. You can tell her accuracy should be pretty good. I'm not seeing any major mistakes here. Good control. Pause where she needs it.
And that's the real jump, don't you think, Miyako? Going from just an all-around kind of solid to really break into that top group. It has to not just be the accuracy. Accuracy is just the gateway to this. It's got to be the presentation. And, you've got to be able to convince the judges that you're the one. And it's a tough game.
Yep, and the accuracy rules really don't change year to year. They're the same. So you can work on those, but the presentation, the style, really can change over the years. As you get a better understanding of the forms, it's how do you generate power? How are you making your body do the moves rather than just doing them, like walking through the motions? It's can you express energy the correct way? And I think she's definitely on her way to doing that.
Definitely. She gets better every time I see her. 6.57.
Jimmy.
And let's see her Kumgang now.
And Krista looks a little bit tall. Would you say that she's taller than
No,
the
she is
average?
tall. Yes, she is definitely
Kumgang
taller than
can be
average.
really hard
Tough
for
game.
tall people.
Yes.
But if they do it and they have solid stances, I would say it looks so much better. It looks so impressive. So I'm excited here to see this.
Yeah, sometimes we all wish that we had your height, Miyako.
I'm 5'4", so I'm on the shorter side.
That's what I'm saying. Us little bit taller people kind of wish we were a little shorter, to be honest, because your Poomsae looks so good.
It does make it easier to be grounded when you're short to the ground.
So she's struggling a little bit here on that thing, but holding it together. And that's really the key, not putting her foot down on the ground, which will definitely give her a major if she does that. But she's fighting it. So this is just a little bit of a balance check. And that was a nice turn.
Yeah, good power coming through on the turns. in the stomps. Yesterday in one of the other divisions, we were watching some of the athletes were competing on concrete with Kumgang, and I was like, those stomps must hurt, but I give it to them for finding a space that worked.
That's right.
바로
Again, Krista's really putting it all together. She's definitely
Shoot.
climbing the ladder here.
경례 퇴장.
And that's going to be a 6.44.
So a couple little accuracy deductions there, but still pretty good presentation, coming in with a 6.5 total score for Krista.
She'll go to number 2 on that one. So 6.51.
And like we said, we have 13 competitors in this round, and top 8 will move on.
Maria Sokolova from Lee's Taekwondo Master Lee, her teacher. And she is a really,
Texas.
really strong competitor. Her teacher is a multi-time team member in my division.
And Maria was on the 2019 National Poomsae team when we went to the President's Cup for female over 30 teams.
Yes.
Got to travel and meet her. It's really great. Her teammates were Catherine Finkelstein and Tuyet Tung.
And she is very solid here. I mean, accuracy, very, very good.
Yep, she opened with a very comfortable first bar and just kept that throughout the whole time. It's really important to have consistency throughout your Poomsae. So if you make a mistake or if you start not as strong, keeping it consistent is important. Yep, here we go. Really nice score, 6.93. High presentation there with a 4.0.
Nice aggressive opening. And then kind of a nice smooth back. So this one, you really want to change the rhythm up a little bit.
Right, so having an aggressive tempo going forward because they're all attacks, and then a little bit slower coming back to show the defensive move. So having that contrast between offensive and defensive will give you an interesting tempo and rhythm for the judges.
And that's always part of the game, is for us to make the judges look at us and see something just a little bit different, hopefully something they like. And again, she's very solid here. She's very comfortable with this.
Really nice pickup there, no wiggles on that.
Yeah, this has been really solid form. Yeah, nice ending too.
Yep, another thing people will do is on that spin, your body can get thrown out and then you have to shift and pull it back to center. But she managed to really hold control of that center of weight and finish in the middle of her horse stance. Really nice
And
score
with
here.
a 7.3. So that's really good. 6.95 altogether, and that's definitely going to bring her up there. She should be right below Twa. Yep.
So we're getting quite a spread in scores in this round. And we're going to take the top 8 into the finals.
And now Jin Li, Master Pak Seung Yang, is her coach. And I've watched her compete before. She's pretty solid. Nice yip
Nice
tucky.
flexibility from these ladies.
Little
Something
video
to-
lag there. Yeah.
Yeah, being careful on that front bar with the front kicks that your elbows don't go flying out or that your head doesn't go forward. Because again, that's all we can see really is those outer motions. So keeping the elbows nice and tight to the body is important, especially on video.
Absolutely. Yeah, that flaring is with your elbows is very, very important. It does on everything. And here, as Miyako pointed out, we can't really see what's happening in front, so we have to make that guess from the body motion in the shoulders there. So you could definitely see where she was putting those techniques. And the judges like that.
That's a 4.4 on presentation. That's one of our higher presentation points. And she's also very comfortable at competition. She's competed at Opens and President's Cup and medaled in many divisions, individual and team. So showing her confidence and just how comfortable she is with these forms in this format.
And I'll tell you, that was some of the best turns in that I've seen. When she comes back around, really, really strong.
And she has an aggressive tempo here. It's pushing it, but she's able to control it, which should pay off in her presentation.
And great gaze. Her eyes, where you're looking is really important. It sets the whole flavor of what the judges are going to look at, especially when we talk about expression of ki. Not so much necessarily your facial expression, but kind of where you put your gaze. It shows the aggressiveness. And what an excellent position. A little slip on the foot at the end there, but I think she'll score really well on this one.
Yeah, it was really solid Kumgang overall. Great power and control and tempo. Yeah. 7.53 here for her on that second form.
So a 7.60. Very, very good score. And yep, that puts her to number 2. And now Sheena Kim. Coach Bob Maves was one of our coaches, national team coaches. When I was very first on the team in 2008, he was one of our coaches and a really great guy. And Sheena definitely, Oh, go ahead.
She's coming from Chicago, but her coach, so where is Bob Maves based out of?
He's like Oregon area.
Right, so this must be a virtual relationship. So she must be used to recording and sending videos with her coach not being where she is. Good use of space.
Absolutely. This is definitely a basement with some nice curtains up there. So, or something it looks like, but she's done a good job.
It looks like Sheena's one of our taller competitors. Having that length on your arms can make the final picture look really nice, but it does take longer to get to that full extension. So sometimes her tempo might be a little bit slower, but if she can reach that full extension on the stances and on punches, it gives a really nice visual for presentation.
Yeah, and the 7.0, good. Yeah, with the longer legs like that too, it's really important that you get to lock out that back leg, because that's one of the harder things I've noticed for taller competitors, to get that look. And if it's just bent even a little bit, it looks, I think, worse than it is.
It's more obvious on taller people than on shorter people, for sure.
Let's see her Kumgang. Another tough one for tall competitors.
Really nice aggressive opening tempo there. Deep bend there on that bottom leg. Let's see if she can hold it through the spins and the turn.
Little slippage. And that Santel Maki, when you come around the mountain block, you really have to hold that tight right there. So that was a nice one. If there's any change of it off there and they get that angle different, sometimes the judges don't like that.
Yeah, being able to cut off your power at the right moment so everything can freeze is really important and hard in some of these turns. But that's when we were watching Pak in the last division. He's so good at that, just cutting everything off so you get such a good frame. It's a great one to watch for a good example of that.
Yeah. And again, Sheena is a familiar face out there on the mat. That was a nice ending. So I think she'll get a pretty good score here.
I think so too. Really solid all around. I expect to see her in the finals.
And a 7-0, so the judges definitely appreciate that.
And just a reminder, we have 13 competitors in the semifinal round, and we're looking for the top 8 to move on to finals.
And here is Sue Bird, another familiar face. She's out there trying every time.
And she's from Minnesota, familiar dojang, lots of competitors who go to nationals. So she has a lot of teammates to practice with. Good flexibility on these front kicks here.
Sue's been around a lot of seminars that we kind of give in the Midwest.
Nice flexibility on the side kick as well. I think making sure that she engages her stances a little bit more, stay grounded and slide through with open knees on those horse stances so that it doesn't look like there's any caving will help her performance score just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Good intention. I feel like she is very careful in her placement of her arm motions. So I think her accuracy, there were a few foot pre-steps, but overall it was pretty strong.
And a 617 total there. Took a few hits in accuracy. Maybe a little too fast sometimes. I know we want to kind of be like the juniors and pull that in, but it's okay to take your time a little bit in that position and be more smooth than too sharp when you pull up into that Haktari Sayu.
Right, one of the things I'm about to age up into senior 2 and working on being grounded and intentional with my motions. And I appreciate that as you move up in the age divisions, you don't have to try and compete with the 18-year-olds. You can take your time, really develop your power and control and show that different side of the Poomsae, which is just as hard to get that full body control rather than just throwing your hips and throwing a kick up there. Is can you really control everything and show how to generate that power?
Yeah, this is a lifetime sport. Absolutely. And again, Sue does a great job. It's the athletes that never quit, that are always out there and competing, that always get better. 593. And I think we have a interview coming up here now, Miyako, from Jennifer Mitchell. We'll talk about
Great.
her in a minute. A good
Looking
friend.
forward to hearing it.
My name is Jennifer Mitchell. I'm in the female under 50 black belt division. I'm from Tinley Park, Illinois. I've been training, I don't know, probably about 10 or 12 years, something like that. Working as a high school administrator and working on a PhD all while training with Taekwondo. Yeah, it's a lot to juggle, certainly. The PhD program has its own level of intensity that seems to keep going and going. And then I have 2 teenage girls, so I've got a whole nother realm of high school kind of living in my house. And as an administrator in a high school, it is it waves in and out in terms of the level of intensity that's there. So sometimes it's all happy things and sometimes it's putting out fires all over the place. So trying to train Taekwondo through all that is is difficult to try to squeeze in. I have some mats up in my bedroom with a workout area that I try to, put in whatever training and workouts I can in between all that. Competing online, yeah, that has definitely been an interesting experience. I had to drag all the mats that I had out to the, kind of the driveway area and, get the lighting when the sun is right, and hopefully the neighbors are not out in the yard making noise. And, it's definitely been an interesting experience, but I'm glad to at least stay connected, not that there just isn't anything to engage in. I'm glad to still stay connected with the competition.
And here comes Jennifer. Jennifer has been working out with us a lot too. We've been doing a lot of Zoom workouts, a few of us, and Jennifer joins us quite frequently. It's a challenge. Jennifer has extreme flexibility, and she's kind of putting the pieces together to use it right now. It's always one of those things when somebody can kind of do the full splits and still have some challenges when they throw certain kicking motions. Flexibility, just having the static flexibility doesn't always translate directly to good kicking. It's a combination.
Right. Core is so important to the kicking. Core, hip flexor flexibility, making sure that all around, your psoas needs to be in control. There's just so many muscles that it's not just the flexibility. It's a full body sport in order to get that side kick look effortless and then be able to do it the next day.
That's right. That's right. Jennifer takes a very intellectual approach to her training too, which sometimes that makes it a little tough because, she can be a little hard on herself to do that. So she is really looking for that, perfect performance all the time. So very driven individual. Have a lot of respect for her.
Well, I thought that was a really solid performance from her.
Absolutely. So 6.77, very good.
Yep, took a couple of accuracy hits, but a presentation of 4.0 with that accuracy. So the judges really liked it. If she can get her accuracy up in this form, I think her overall score will be a few tenths higher. But Kumgang is always the equalizer.
Always. And that is one of the challenges, again, as we discussed earlier, of an online competition. The coach can't tell you, when you come back in, hey, you need to up this a little bit this time or slow down a little bit, here. You've just got to take your chance on this online thing. You're giving it to them all at once.
And again, with unknown, how many times are you recording? It's hard for a perfectionist. You might want to do it for hours and hours, but sometimes it can be easier to just say, I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to do all my rounds and just take the best ones so that you really have to focus mentally without the pressure that you have at a tournament environment.
I would bet though that Jennifer probably did this in one take. she's hardcore.
So she has a little bit of a C curve in her back on these horse stances. What you can do to really work on that is engage your lower core and squeeze your glutes to pull that stomach in just a tad to really help your balance on the spins. I think people don't realize that can really throw you off. So that would make this form just a little bit easier for her, but overall really solid. Few bobbles there, so
yeah, so she
6.17.
definitely took the accuracy hit. So 6.47 in the end though. So again, Jennifer's been up in that top echelon for a while too, popping in there, but sitting at 6 right now.
And we're looking for top 8 again to go into the finals.
And now Julie Erickson, whose coach is Master Patrick Hoth. I've had a great opportunity to go to Master Hoth's school and work with some of their Poomsae athletes, and they're just some of the best people around. And Julie is always out on the floor ready to go.
And this is in Minnesota?
Yeah.
So if our cadets and juniors are out there watching these episodes, getting ready to go, You want to have a nice open space, but make sure that your body stays in the frame the whole time. So here, we're cutting out about knee down. You want to make sure that your whole body can be in the screen so the judges can score it. I know that they are taking off points if they can't see it.
So again, very, very accurate, kind of getting it done there, but needs a little more presentation to really bring her into a higher level here. She probably took a lot of hits, the accuracy hits from her feet, as Miyako pointed out, not being in there. So 616. And now, not only do you have to be good at Poomsae, but you have to be a good camera person too and set it up. And you have to be good with technology. Get good frame rates.
That's most of society, isn't it now, though, Master Southwick? You all
Yes,
gotta be up on the technology.
Look at us even now doing this by Zoom. It's a sign of the times.
Nice controlled pickup. Not the fastest, but very controlled. She brought it up and didn't have any majors or twists.
It's always finding the smoothness there, you know, how you can, if you do it slow, it has to match the rest of what you're doing so it doesn't look out of place.
Right, that consistency is so important.
Again, shaking the picture. Anytime we shake the picture, it makes the judges a little bit nervous. And they just want to press that button.
So a slight drag there on the way up. And there's tons of approaches on those spins. Some people spin, some people step. Different ways to do it, but I think the most important thing is to make it as smooth as possible and then have a clean finish.
Yeah. And 6.06 on that one. And so a 611. Let's see where that puts her. And it puts her at number 7. So still not too bad.
경례
Yunju Che
준비
and Master Ru is her teacher.
And she's from Diamond Bar, California.
So a little bit of a lean there when she comes out. You can some extra foot movement sometimes that points out, but again, she knows the form.
And good control on the side kicks for the most part. Good, you can see the chamber in and out.
Yeah.
That's one of the only forms choreo where Pyongwon as well, where you put your foot down almost backwards rather than going forward into a stance. So you don't get as much practice at that one, and she had really good control as she stepped down into the front stance.
쇼 퇴장
Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, 697. So still nice. Actually down a little bit, but presentation 4.17. That's gonna do well for her here.
준비
Being able to take out extraneous movements will help with that presentation score. So just having your hands and your legs go directly where they need to go, rather than, you know, taking a really circuitous route or flailing or going below the belt. And I feel like she's really good at that. Her hands go the most direct route possible, and it's very clean.
She's got a great start to this form already. A lot more control. Almost no extra motion here.
there's a little bit of a pre-step before she starts spinning. You really want to try and throw your body so that you don't step into the spin, you just start spinning. So she might take a pre-step on every single one of those spins.
Something that I practice with pretty much every time I train this form is spinning with the body and not stepping with the foot. It's a tough one.
And it's really hard to feel it because you just feel like you're turning. So this video is really great for that because you can just see, did I do it or did I not? And then try it again. So video training for both for submission for these tournaments, but also as a training tool, I think is really helpful to see those things that you can't feel.
And the 7.0 is a strong score for her here. That'll bring her up
again,
a little bit there.
Lower in accuracy, but higher in presentation. So really nice overall score here.
699.
Puts her in 5th place by 1/100th of a point.
Wow. Wow. Shannon Hodock and Master Han Dong Won. We've seen this Dojang before.
And she's from North Carolina, and she says she just started training with their demo team there, and she gets to do it with her youngest daughter. So that's always nice that you can have it be a family sport, you know, Poomsae, but also just demo team is also a really great introduction into freestyle.
Oh, absolutely.
Being creative, playing around with music, and getting some tricking experience is great. And I love that she's doing it with her daughter.
And a lot of potential here, a lot of potential. Just little things to fix, and I think she'll be stepping up there a lot. We'll probably see her in the future quite frequently. And a 6.76.
Yep, so just like you said, cleaning up accuracy a little bit, and she'll be jumping there up into the 7s. Do you have any tips and tricks to hold this crane stance, Master Southwick?
Oh, it's one of my best things, to be honest with you. If I just told you how much I train doing it, then you'd know why I can do it.
You got to give us your secrets.
A lot of squats. A lot of squats. And again, as I said before, it's really, I think some of the things is just being a little bit aggressive about it, you know, mentally, that you have got to trust your training. And that's a hard lesson for everyone to learn. You know, you do all this kind of stuff, but if you think about being unstable, then you're probably going to be unstable. And one of my own little secrets is I honestly, when you see me do this, I will be saying the word stability. I say that. I say stability when I'm there. So it's a tough thing. If I have a good day, it's nice.
Yeah, you can drill it as many times as you want and really try and go in with a great mindset, but there's always that one run that comes through in a tournament and you might bobble or put your foot down, but really trying to forget about it and move on and reset is important so that it doesn't carry through the whole form.
That's right.
That she did a really good job throughout, consistent at her level, I think is really nice, and I'm excited to see her in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And this 6.56 is still a good score for someone just starting to come into this game. So a 6.66 overall. And there she is up there at number 6.
Number 6 with a 6.66.
Awesome. Sean Schuler.
And here we go in the same studio, back to back.
Yep. Same teacher, so these two are definitely classmates.
And that always makes it easier to compete when you have teammates there, practice training with you, check in on you, push you to do better. it's one of the great things. I love doing team and pairs Poomsae because it really has you zone in and focus in order to push yourself as a team, so that it's not just an individual sport, even though you may be competing in individual.
Such good points. And really, we're not competing against other people. I never look at it that way. I don't know about you, but I always consider I'm going against the judges. So I kind of take the other competitors out of the mix, because if the judges like me, then, you know, that's going to be a good gain for me in that position. And sometimes I could have some deficiencies that I can get past just by a good presentation and kind of capturing them. So there's a lot of performance art in here too.
Mm-hmm. And being comfortable and confident with yourself. It's, can you battle your mental thoughts in order to come out with a good performance here? I think Sean has some good basics. We got to clean up some of the accuracy, but she has good power. I think as long as she can figure out where to implement that power in and control her stances a little bit more. And she has a great teammate there with her with a pretty good score. So getting together and continuing to work through all of these accuracy points.
We always kind of make a joke that the sparring people bruise on the outside, but the Poomsae people, we bruise on the inside. It's really a fight with our pride and, you know, being comfortable, as you're talking about, with all this sort of thing. So it is, maybe the real enemy is ourself, and that's just something that we all want to overcome. But the community is so positive altogether anyway. That's another thing I really like about it. So I feel for my fellow competitors when we're out there, and we all kind of cheer each other on. And I think that makes everything feel a little better.
Definitely. There's always such a positive environment around Poomsae competitions, because it is, can you do your best performance? It's not about the other person.
Right.
And I think that really allows us to have a great collegiality.
So true. It's been one of my favorite things, and it really goes that way throughout the world too, as you know. You and I both being out there, how many friends have we made all over the world over the last decade? It's unbelievable.
It's a really great community.
Again, great performance. Just clean up little things on that position, and that score is going to come up a lot. So looking forward to seeing Sean in the future as well. 5.63. So 5.69 her final score there, and that's going to be a little bit down there. So 12th.
And we have one more competitor in the semifinal round.
경례
Shannon Call, Master
준비.
Ray Kai, Chicago area there as well.
시작.
And I believe that Shannon also competes in freestyle individual. I don't know if
She
she has
does.
a gymnastics background, but she throws
Yes.
a backflip beautifully and easily. And she has really upped her level of traditional Poomsae, which has helped her freestyle as well.
Yeah, it's so true. Watching her do freestyle and then watching her do this, two different monsters. She's two different people. In fact, I last time I watched her doing some traditional stuff at maybe a Grand Slam event. I went up to her and said, you should mentally be playing this form right here the same way you do when you do freestyle, because her personality just comes out when she does the freestyle. And I think she would get a lot better score here if she kind of let that go a little bit and let that personality be out. She's still working through the traditional forms.
But even just in the past year or two, she's gotten a lot better. So I think in the coming years, she's definitely going to be a powerhouse here in the traditional round as well.
I agree. 6'5" there. Yeah, when she lets that out and lets that personality of hers out, she's going to be a formidable competitor.
And she has just really good understanding, I think, of her body, but letting it loosen up a little bit so we lose some of the stiffness in the arm motions, especially in the defensive blocks, will help her out. But really solid, good control. I'm sure her balance is great.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, watching her fly through the air is was pretty amazing. And look, there's that horizontal knee that you were talking about before, Miyako. Really, really good position on that knee.
Yeah, and that came up really quickly. Bend on the lower leg. She has a good control of those crane stances, and the spins even are pretty controlled.
And her spatial awareness is very good.
바로
That was a really solid run for Shannon.
Yeah, again, just little
Sure.
things. You take fine athletes
Hello.
like that, and they
Chung
just
Nae.
become great. And it's still 6.57 is pretty good.
So let's see, she's our last competitor, and we're looking for the top 8 to move on to finals. So let's see if Shannon can make the top 8.
And she does at number
She
7.
does.
So good group of people to move on there.
Yeah, congratulations to top 8 moving into finals, headed by Twa up there in first place.
Now the male red belt under 50.
And we're moving
John-
into color
John
belts
Li.
here.
And those are some nice mats that John has placed in his, looks like a garage. Master Pak Seung Yang, again, is his coach. And it's great to see color belts out here that are really starting to put in the time, because this is a tough sport, and the accuracy part is something that you have got to beat. And as a color belt, we were all, even as black belts, we're struggling still with that. So, you know, these guys are doing double duty, still working for that black belt, still trying to learn those techniques. And, you know, John is under 50. So it's great to see older people beginning in Taekwondo like this.
Definitely, and you can do it with your kids, and then you can train together, spend a little bit of time.
And a 6.56.
And we're gonna have an interview now with our next competitor. Oh, sorry, second form first.
Yeah, second form on
Second
him right
form.
now. So he did Taegeuk 6 there before. And let's see what he's going to do. Taegeuk 4. Taegeuk 4 is going to be nice because we're going to get a couple side kicks coming up here. And let's see where John is on his side kick training. Good foot position, a little more extension and control. His apchagi, his front kick, is coming along pretty good.
I think very common as we are working through color belts and coming up to being a black belt is that our feet will land and then we'll do the hand motion. And as you get up in the ranks, you really want to start working on your hand techniques, finishing with your feet techniques. So I think John can work on that a little bit. It'll probably be a good score, but that'll help his performance.
And now we're going to have a little interview with Robert Perkins. After we see John's score, 6.63 and a 6.60. It's always nice when you hold that position for just a second there, that first spot.
Jason Poos here again with one of our competitors from USA Taekwondo's Summer of Poomsae. I'm here with Rob Perkins. Rob, first, let's get right into it. Thank you for your time today, and let's go right into a couple questions. First, it's the virtual Summer of Poomsae. So how does it feel competing in this kind of different format where you're actually not going to be in the arena? You're going to be competing actually in your home or in your home club.
It's different. It's a real different atmosphere, but it's a real fun challenge. You get to make mistakes, but then you see them. So you get out in front of a live audience and you keep going. And when you're doing a recording, sometimes you have to stop, sometimes you restart, and then you don't have any of that energy from the crowd. You have yourself and anybody who's there to help film, and that's it. And you want it to look as good and clean and professional as possible. And I think it took us about 90 minutes to put my recording together with my instructor. And it's just that, okay, let's do it again. and it was just different. And you get out in front of a crowd at a local tournament where you've got people who are cheering for you from your club, or you do one of the USA Taekwondo tournaments and you still have people cheering for you. And that's a whole different level of fear. But you've got that recording that's there that's going to last forever, and people are going to be able to tune in and watch it. So that creates some fun challenges as we go through the process.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I listen to people now, and we've had some different interviews from here and there, and everybody talks about the fact that it took a lot longer than they thought to put together that ultimately that winning Poomsae. So it just, you guys are perfectionists, and it shows, and it's going to hopefully show up in a high score there for you here at USAT's competition. Let's pivot for a second to COVID-19. It's been stressful. It's been crazy. It's been an entirely different situation. How have you managed it? How have you managed to keep your training up and ultimately be able to get ready for competitions, even though you say, hey, they're not going to be in person, but in this case, a virtual competition? How are you able to do that?
You know, one of the neat things, and I don't want to go down a political road, but one of the neat things that our governor did in his safer at home order was he kept our parks and he kept our outdoor spaces open, and then he encouraged people to go ahead and use those spaces. Get your exercise, get out of the house, be safe. And I took advantage of that and was able to do a lot of stuff in Wisconsin with our natural wonders. And then our gym was able to stay open virtually. We were doing Taekwondo training in our basements over Zoom for 2 months until our safer at home order expired. So we were working on Poomsae virtually. We were working on our own because we had time. So the training was a lot better for a Poomsae tournament, because that's what we were able to work on. It was back to that kind of basics martial arts approach where our training is our forms. And so we were in basements, we were in backyards. Our local Badger State Games did a virtual forms tournament, and that's really heavily World Taekwondo, but we did it, you know, we had people from all over the state and all over Minnesota that had beamed in for it. So again, my kind of theme throughout COVID-19 and everything that I'm doing is opportunities and possibilities. And so that was kind of a cool way to get the Poomsae down. And I came into this style of Taekwondo after being in a couple of different styles. And so this gave me opportunity to kind of clean up the Poomsae that I hadn't learned prior to getting to this belt rank in our system.
Yeah, that's great. So we can say Rob Perkins is a veteran virtual Poomsae specialist, because you've had more experience. Sounds like you've had more experience than anybody this far. So, well, Rob, we just want to say first, thank you so much for spending some time with us here at USA Taekwondo. Good luck on the up and coming USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae competition. And again, you know, great luck with your virtual Poomsae competitions you've been doing all over the country.
Thank you very much, Jason.
You're welcome.
Well, Robert Perkins, when he talks, he does not sound like an amateur. I mean, all the stuff he was saying is the stuff that I'm thinking in my head. And I'm telling you, he sounds like he has got some experience there. So let's see if he can put that out. Here's his Taeguk 6.
Here's the only form with round kicks. You can tell he mentioned he came from a different style, and we are seeing some of that. So he's learning the transition into this new World Taekwondo format of Poomsae for, you know, sport Poomsae competition style. And it looks like he knows he's working through some things, but really great approach to both the whole quarantine COVID situation and to his Poomsae as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed that interview. I feel like I got to know him a little bit, and what a great approach to this Poomsae tournament.
Yeah, and to his training as well, because with that kind of mental attitude, there's no way that person will not be successful eventually here. So he's going to take some pretty hard hits there in his accuracy, but as he's just working through that, as Miyako pointed out, 4.73 in the beginning, it's a tough business. You've got to learn those standards and get those stances and hit those marks. And that's the first hurdle to really crush. But he's got the mental game. And let's check out his Yapchagi here, sidekick. Again, good attempts. And you can tell that he's not perfect with these forms. He's thinking his way through. And all of us as competitors, that's something that we try to mask a little bit, is if it shows that we're thinking our way through the form, then in the presentation, you'll definitely take the hit from that.
Right, you want to get to the point where things just look very easy and natural, even though you're thinking really hard and you're trying to remember, where am I going to engage my core, and I want faster double punches, but you want to make it look effortless. So we can tell that Rob here is working through that new style. I really commend him for coming out and competing. And here we go with a score of 4.63. Once he gets that accuracy up, his performance will also go up as well. Total score here, 4.68.
And I look forward to seeing Rob out there. I can't wait to meet him in person, but John's going to take that top spot. So great job, John. And now the female under 50, Charity Lawson. Robert Vargas is the teacher from Quest Taekwondo. We'll start now with Taeguk Boja, number 5. And coming up on this part, really important from back fist middle block, that you show those height delineations. You need to see that back fist going to the philtrum area, but that block stay below the shoulder. And we'll get to look at some side kicks here too. These are a good position. Maybe a little more turnover of her body.
Right, you want to make sure that heel is coming straight out, and you can get that by driving your knee into your chest before you go for that extension.
Yeah, that chambering position really will improve the performance of that side kick. And again, accuracy hits, but a 5.70.
B.
And I just want to add in that while you can't see us, commentators, we can see each other. And Miyako right now has a cat who is sharing the screen with her, and I just thought I'd share that.
This is Nacho, and he loves being in all of my work webinars as well.
Well, Nacho is definitely enjoying Charity here as she comes in Taeguk 6, and nice round kick for her there.
I think that she has a really great tempo. So she's working through, controlling everything, and she's not rushing through it. I think that as she continues to clean up and add in some power, keeping this tempo at a good controlled pace will be a really good approach.
Absolutely. And she knows the form. I mean, you can definitely tell. She knows this form. She's not thinking about what move comes up next. And a 5.17 for that. And a 5.44 for her final. And I think now we've got an interview coming up. And it will be for the under 50 Mayo yellow belt and Tony Liu.
Here I am back again. It's Jason Poos with the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae, and we're here live with Tony Liu. Tony, let's get right at a few questions. First, we know you're competing here at the Summer of Poomsae. You're doing it virtually. So talk about the differences between competing at a live event compared to this virtual one where you get to do it ultimately in your own dojo.
Yeah, so Jason, thanks for having me here. I think it's a totally different environment and pressure. Obviously, this is only my second event here. My first event was the Iowa State Championship where we had a big audience. And so it was different competing at a live event versus a online. But I think that the pressure-wise, I felt more pressure and I was more intense preparing for this virtual online because I knew that the audience was going to be a lot bigger, and then I had to be almost perfect because the camera almost catches all of your mistakes. So I had to practice extra hard, and it took a lot of preparation because I knew I had to be picture perfect on camera. So I took it with a lot of seriousness and dedication, and because I knew world-class competitions is going to be coming onto these online events.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because you don't think about that until you know that the camera's going to catch every little flaw, and so ultimately you end up doing it over and over again till you get it perfect. So that's interesting to hear you say that. Let's talk a little bit about our ranking system, because we have one now, and ultimately you could possibly be ranked number one after this competition or others. So tell me how it feels to possibly get a number one ranking, or if you don't see your name at number one, you know you have some work to do to get to number two, or I beg your pardon, to get from number two to number one, or number three to number one.
Absolutely. Very, very excited to be part of a tournament that gives you the chance and opportunity to have that ranking. I'm excited, but to me, I'm just getting started. So it's a journey rather than a destination. So regardless of where I end up in the ranking, I'm going to try my best. I'm starting out at yellow. My goal is to make it to the national team one time when I get to black belt. So it's a journey. It's all about the dedication and the hard work and competing in as many events. So I thank you guys for putting on a great event online, even though we're not able to compete in live events.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, with that kind of professional thinking and that, destination journey mentality, I want this journey over. I think you'll do great things, because that's the kind of professionalism it takes to ultimately be, like you said, a national team member and win a gold medal for yourself in Team USA. So Tony, thanks so much for spending some time with us here today. We do appreciate your time. Good luck at the Summer of Poomsae competition, and good luck to you going forward with all of your competitions.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having us.
Great interview. It's really great to see these older competitors, because mentally they've got the game already, and that's wonderful. So let's see Tony perform. It looks like he's going to do takeoff 2 here.
And this is already looking great. Really good control, good deep stances.
Yeah, the early takeoffs are relatively robotic, just in their nature, but he's really doing a great job here. So that's a fantastic performance. I think he's going to get a really good score here.
Absolutely, he's going to vault himself into that first place for these ranking points.
He definitely is, for sure. And look at that, a 6.64. That's pretty good for a yellow belt. I mean, that's really, really good. So fantastic, Tony, fantastic. And I think we're coming up to the end of our event here, Miyako. We've got an under 40 male yellow belt, and Masam Akbaran from Capital Martial Arts.
And this is a very familiar studio for me. I just moved up here to Rockville, Maryland, where this school is located. I'm familiar with the instructor, Master Khalid Saleh. They have some really great color belt athletes, so he has a good number of teammates to work with. Good flexibility. I think he can work on extending his back leg on those front kicks just a little bit more and on the front kicks, but pretty clean overall. Comfortable with the form, which we talked about is so important, being comfortable with the motion so that then you can work on inserting your own style and performance into it.
Absolutely. Well, still great performance. So you're going to be training at this school a little bit, maybe?
I think so, yeah. There's a couple schools in the area that I'm looking at, and not anytime soon, I'll tell you, though. I'm still training in my basement.
Yes, it's okay. Yeah, I think we all are. Well, 6.27
and great score
is a good
here,
score.
yeah, 6.27. So he will also take that first place and take all of those ranking points, giving himself a leading for our point ranking system here. Well, that is the end for this episode. I thoroughly enjoyed being here with all of you and with my co-commentator, Master Ronald Southwick. Always a pleasure, sir.
Oh, no, the pleasure's mine, Miyako. I've enjoyed our time since Indonesia, and great to be with you. And what a great day. It's an honor to be able to see all these athletes and do a little color commentary for this. So thanks for everything you've done. And again, thanks for USA Taekwondo hosting the Summer of Poomsae event.
Yeah, and I think we saw a couple of semifinal rounds for the black belts in the under 50 division. So making that cutoff into the top 8 is always really hard, whether it's, only beating out a couple people or beating out 18 people. Making it into that final really is a cut to prove to yourself, I think, that you're in the best of the best. And we had some top level competitors in these divisions for the Summer of Poomsae. Some of the other divisions as well. I was just thinking some people getting cut out if the finals are national team members. So it's just the level of competition that we're seeing here is just so high. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just want to thank everyone and congratulate everyone who participated, because they're just really continuing their training, showing that they're mentally focused and pushing themselves both physically and mentally during these quarantine times, which are hard and we can get cut down. So I really thank USA Taekwondo for having this event to give us a venue to showcase Poomsae in a different way, and then continue our training and show how great this sport really is, especially in some of these older divisions. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for the next episode.
Wow, amazing action. So glad you guys are with us. I've enjoyed it to this point. Such good, close, tight competition. But we have athletes moving on to the finals. Let's get right to our finalists. So congratulations to all of our competitors. Here are our finalists right here, right now. In the under 50 male red belt division, our finalists are John Yi and Robert Perkins. Our finalists in the under 50 female red belt division, Charity Lawson. And our finalists in the under 50 male yellow belt division, Tony Liu. Also, let's give you some black belt finalists. There's 8 finalists here in the men's under 50 black belt competition. Here we are. Dong Wong, a finalist, as well as Armand Morin, Todd Brown, Angelito Ong, Victor Chung, Michael John Bugarin, Krishna Sitaram, and Pak Seung Yang. There's your 8 finalists in the men's under 50 male black belt division. Congratulations to you as well. Let's get right to our finalists in the female, female under black belt division. It's under 50 female black belt division right here, right now. Here are your 8 finalists. It is Yenju Chow, Jennifer Mitchell, Julie Erickson, Shannon Hodock, Susan Bird, Twa Nguyen, Sheena Kim, and Jin Li. There's your 8 finalists. That is the female under 50 black belt division. Congratulations on moving to the finals. This has been great competition here in episode 4, and I can't tell you how excited I am about all of our competitors here at the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. I'm Jason Poos. We've got more action coming for you in episode 5, maybe even another person with me. You're going to have to be there to find out. We'll see. This has been USA's Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. Congratulations again of our competitors. See you guys in episode 5.